RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD. You're going to follow me on Twitter. And it's Friday, November 8th. We'll be taking a look at the NFL DFS Week 10 slate on DraftKings for GPPs. So if you're looking to win that Millie Maker or your small field contest or the Spy, the Red Zone, the whatever they're called on DraftKings. We're talking about GPPs, winning tournaments, coming in first place. So hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Give me those thumbs. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Remember, NBA is still going on, so we got Grinders live in crunch time later today on the channel, as well as other shows as well. If you're a premium member, I will be on the Blitz show today. So when that comes out for the RotoGrinders, the premium people, click on that link in the description. Get $40 off your first month of a combo premium package. But right now, I'm joined by the guy behind the tournament takes, as well as part of the People Show, waking up early on Sunday mornings. It's Bobby Gomes. We got a 10-game slate. I'm just happy we're kind of back to bye weeks, and it's not as daunting of a task to decide where we're going to go in GPPs this week.
Yeah, a lot better than the 13-game slate we had last week. It's a little bit more condensed, so I would imagine it's going to be easier to find these stacks. So I think we did a pretty good job last week, though, so hopefully we carry that over. Nice seeing you this morning, Blender. Nice seeing you.
Well, I mean, from an like a 30,000-foot view, as of right now, I mean, this is Friday, 11 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, things could change. We see things change in NFL a lot more like NBA sometimes these days. On DraftKings, at least, because that's what we're focusing on. I mean, it's the same on FanDuel, but DraftKings, tight pricing, not really. There's no like screaming value. I mean, there's some people that are like going to be a little, they may be slightly underpriced, a little bit more value, a little bit, some chalk that is, a little bit more owned than other pieces, but nothing that stands out as like, this guy is going to be 40% owned, or you got to play this game. Like everyone's playing this stack or anything. So I think this actually sets up to be an excellent GPP week, because you can make a lot of lineups that project within like 5 to 7 points of each other with a large variety of players. So, I mean, my attitude on these types of weeks is that I'm much more likely to be contrarian, right? Like when it comes to basically the two types of weeks, Bobby, that we have are ones where there's Chase Brown at 2,000 underpriced, and it's like, how do you attack this? How do you build lineups with a very chalky, high projected guy that's underpriced? Where do you get difference so you're not sharing points with so many people? And then you also have the weeks where I guess there are some 20% owned guys, but like the difference between the 20% owned guy and the 10% owned guy is like 1.5 points in projection. And you could do that like 3 or 4 times in your lineup by not playing these guys. And your lineup like only projects like 5 or 6 points lower. And in GPPs, that's definitely easy to overcome. On the weeks where you have like super mega chalk 2 or 3 clear value plays, like to not play those guys, like if you just X out all 3 of those guys, your lineup is like 20 points too low projected. So you kind of have to play some piece of these high projected, high value plays. I don't think this, as of right now at least, and we'll see with injury reporting, I don't think that's this week. I look at this and are you excited about playing anyone?
I just think it's like with the pricing being tight, I like it a lot better, obviously. You can go more contrarian. Seeing a lot of 2 tight end builds, we get news that might change. I don't know, chasing this 29-point team total with San Fran, I don't mind. There's going to be chalk on the Tampa side with Sterling Shepard. That seems like vomit in your mouth chalk, but I'm sure stuff will open up a little bit. Nothing, just maybe the Jets. Aaron Rodgers to Devontae versus Arizona. Arizona's pass defense hasn't been fantastic, so those are just 2 things that keying in it keying in on off the top, but I could imagine that changing by Sunday morning.
I could tell from your tone in your voice that it doesn't sound like you're excited. It doesn't say this is like, oh, I look at the slate and it's like I'm like, dude, these two stacks and this guy is going to be 8% owned, and I'm all in, and I can't wait to fade this guy, or we got to eat this. Like, I just look at this and I go, man, like yeah,
I think
look at like 24 different players and go, yeah, I'm fine with all these lineups, but I'm like, I can't pick one out of these 10 that I'm like, oh, I'm super excited to play this lineup.
I think it's just like another day in DFS. Like, everyone has the same board, so you're pretty much everyone's dealing with the same chips, right? So you just pretty much take your stands eventually come Sunday, and I don't know. It's just everyone's playing the same game, right? So yeah, there's nothing that really stands out to me, but I'll just go to the totals first, especially when we're trying to figure out these stacks, and then go from there.
Well, talking about stacks, you know what we do on the show on Friday? We create the tiers, A, B, C, D, and F. We're talking about team stacks. Okay, so just because a team is in the F stack doesn't mean you can't play a player from the team, right? And if you're the ownership is too high, maybe we bump them down, right? If they're under-owned, we kind of move them up. If they're over-owned, we kind of move them down. A, B, C, D, and F. We got 20 teams on the slate. And remember, we're talking about stacks. So quarterback +1, +2, game stacks, triple stacks, 3 + 2. And we'll talk about all that correlation and leverage as we go on. The first game on the docket, maybe a quick game to talk about. We got the Patriots at the Bears. This is a pretty low total with 38.5. Bears are favored significantly, 6 points or so. Bears 22.25 implied team total, 16.25 implied team total for the Patriots. For the most part, like in this game, as far as ownership is concerned, it's mostly centered around DeAndre Swift at 6,500 and the Bears defense at 3,000. I don't think I'm opposed to even playing the Patriots defense because Caleb Williams has a pretty wide range of outcomes. Can you punt with Hunter Henry at 3,900 kind of at tight end? I guess. But do I really want to be playing Drake May stacks? I don't think so. Bobby, I don't know about you, but I see the Bears coming in low owned, and that makes me more attractive to play a Caleb Williams type stack. But I'm not really thrilled about this game environment in general.
Yeah, the game environment's terrible. The Patriots 16 implied team total. Let's just put them in F immediately. Like, we're not playing them. We're not playing Drake May stacks. You can make a case to play the defense at 2,500. Both defenses are in play. Bears will probably be one of the chalkier, if not the chalkiest defenses on the slate at 3K. And I would imagine that DeAndre Swift's going to get ownership too. So for me, like, probably be at most one of the two. Just because I just feel like you can get away with playing the Pats D, and I don't know, the correlation, like, people are just going to play the Bears and DeAndre Swift. So you can just kind of pretty much not play one. I think you can find value in one of them.
But how about a Caleb Williams stack? I mean, there's no cheap receivers really anymore. Komet's at 4,300. Odunze is now priced up at 5,200. You got Keenan Allen 5,400, but you obviously have to question his ceiling. I like DJ Moore at 6,300, but he doesn't project all that well comparable to other 6K wide receivers. I think I'm more inclined, if I were to play the Bears, I think it would be a Williams, Moore, Komet type of lineup. But if I'm playing something like that, you're getting low ownership on all these guys. I'm much more likely to just kind of press the optimize button from there because you're kind of giving up like 7 or 8 points in projection just by your stack. So I'm not necessarily sure. I like the ownership. The Bears, even regardless of ownership, had a 22-point implied team total, and Swift being chalk, meaning chalky at least.
Chalky, yeah.
So you get some leverage playing the passing game rather than the running game. So, like, I would naturally kind of put them in the D tier, but maybe Are they B just because like I got to bump them up because I'm not? I really think people are just going to avoid this game environment, and I think it's a low percentage shot, but when Caleb Williams goes off, like these, I mean, at 3-4% on all these guys, DJ Moore at under 5%. I'm never shocked that DJ Moore puts up a 6 for 124 and 2 touchdown type of game. I'm willing to put the Bears in the C tier just due to ownership.
Yeah, I'm willing to put them in the C tier too. I think you can make a case for B. But I think C is the right place to go. And it would be Caleb to Odunze would be my favorite of the three. Bears receivers. Keenan would be third and DJ Moore would be second if I was trying to rank the pass catchers. So Odunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and that would be how I rank them. I think you just use Caleb and like, do we need a double Caleb here? Like, I
mean, you don't need it. But I mean, if you're going to end up playing, like if you're playing a lot, like my attitude is, if you're going to pay up a tight end, that's a different story. But if you're going to be playing a $3,500, 4,000 level tight end anyway, I'd rather just play Cole Kmet at 4,300 if it's a Caleb Williams lineup. I wouldn't play Kmet like by himself.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Let's leave them in C. The game environment isn't great. I wouldn't throw them in D because the team total is elevated slightly. I don't know if I'd want to put them in B. Maybe that's
right. Maybe we'll readjust at the end just to even things out. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I think this next game you'll like more. You got the Bills at the Colts. The Bills are about a 3.5, 4-point favorite on the road with a 25.25 implied team total. Colts 21.75 implied team total. The chalky player in this game is going to be Josh Downs at 6,200. His props look really good for that price. I think he'll be one of the highest owned wide receivers on DraftKings, a little bit less owned on FanDuel. I don't see much else here as far as chalk. I mean, I guess because Downs will be chalky, maybe Flacco's ownership will go up a bit. But I'm more interested in the Buffalo side. I think it's going to be tough for people to pay up at quarterback this slate. There isn't like screaming running back value, and pairing Josh Allen is pretty tough. I'm looking more at a $6K Shakir or a $4,900 Dalton Kincaid. Like none of these guys project like as great values. But I don't mind attacking the Colts, especially indoors in there. And I don't think the ownership's going to go here. I think more people will be willing to play like Hurts or Daniels lineups than play Josh Allen lineups. And I also think it's a good way as far as a game stack. If Downs is going to be chalky, especially like maybe as a one-off, that you pair Downs with the Josh Allen stack, and combinatorically you get much lower ownership overall while still getting the correlation. So I don't know what you want to do with the Bills or the Colts, but I like the pricing is not that great of value, but I think the ceiling in this game is I wouldn't be shocked if this game went over its total.
Yeah, so with the Bills, I'm in lockstep with you with the Bills stack. I would say I'd be more interested in playing Kincaid and taking a shot on Cooper's ceiling relative to playing Khalil Shakir. I just don't think Shakir really has enough ceiling upside to win a large field tournament. I guess you can play him in smaller field stuff, but I would rather take the shot on Cooper's being 3 weeks in that offense now. His snaps eventually going to go up, 5,800, going to be less owned. For me, it would just getting to Cooper over Shakir with Allen would make a lot more sense. And then Kincaid, I think he's probably my favorite of the pass catchers. Actually, I think I'd prefer Cooper to Kincaid, still, but I don't know. Cooper and Kincaid would definitely stand out I think you could always pair Allen with James Cook because of how utilized Cook is in the passing game. If I had to rank this offense currently, I'd go B. I think B is fine where you have them currently. So I'm
How about
a little bit
how about
higher
on
on
the
the
Colts side? How about with Flacco? Like, are you more likely to play like Downs? Downs is the type of guy that I think is not a good one. I think Downs gets the ceiling from the game environment more because he's a little bit more of a possession receiver. Like he's not like a Mitchell or a Ashton Doolin, Alec Pierce type that's going to catch like, oh, he's going to go 2 for 87 with a touchdown. It's going to be more likely he gets, 8 or 9, 8 or 9 for 112 and a touchdown. And that's much more likely in more of a shootout type of environment. So like I think as of this point, I may set a group in lineup HQ that when I build my lineups, Josh Downs will only be in Josh Allen and Joe Flacco type of lineups. How are you approaching Josh Downs in particular? And then where do you want to put the Colts as a stack in the tiers?
I think that's a good rule on Downs, and mainly because you do have receivers like Pittman, like Adonai Mitchell, like Alec Pierce. Doolin gets in there. Like Flacco seems to be spreading the ball around a good bit, and I think we've seen that on the Island game the other night. So not playing Downs without a Flacco or an Allen might be an interesting way to approach it in larger field stuff. I think in smaller field type contests, however you play them, it's fine just because it becomes raw points once the slate starts, right?
Right.
Yeah, for me, I would have the Colts in C, though. Not C, sorry. I would have them in B. I would put the Colts in B, not in C. We have them currently in C. Yeah, I'd move them to B.
Okay. Well, we'll think about it. I think I'd rather play the Bills than the Colts, personally.
Well,
we don't know.
First disagreement.
Let's go to the next game. The Vikings at the Jaguars. The Vikings are a 7-point road favorite with a 25-point implied team total. Jacksonville with an 18-point implied team total. Trevor Lawrence is out. Mac Jones will be starting this game. Mac Jones is only $4,400 on DraftKings. I could see him being like the cheap quarterback du jour type of option in like cash game lineups. I'm not sure if I go there in cash games, but I get it. Do I really want to be attacking the Vikings defense? Probably not. I don't think Mac Jones is like a horrible quarterback, right? But I mean, Trevor Lawrence is not the greatest of quarterbacks either. The chalk in this game, however, I think Aaron Jones at 6,700 is going to be one of the most owned running backs on DraftKings. He'll be less owned on FanDuel at 6,700, and like Ty Chandler essentially being, sent to the curb. They got Cam Akers now, that he just came in off the, as a, free agent essentially. He's not really taking that much work. I think Sam Darnold will be in the conversation as far as like cash game type of quarterback in the 66K range. And then if you're going to pay up at wide receiver, probably the most appealing option is Justin Jefferson. But the tight pricing probably keeps Justin Jefferson at 8,800. His ownership will probably be kept mostly in check, right? I don't think he's going to be 20% owned, but he won't be single digit owned. I like the Vikings stack because I think I could play other running backs besides Aaron Jones and possibly get, 20 points out of my running back spot from some other game. And I think it's natural leverage to go with the Vikings passing attack against a Jacksonville team that may go 3 and out like 14 times and get a lot of possession. So I don't know about you. I don't think Jefferson is going to be like super chalk. And if that's the case, I think he's the highest ceiling player on the slate, and I'm going to put the Vikings in the 8 tier.
I'm with you with the Vikings in the A category for pretty much every reason that you just hit on. Aaron Jones, 6,700 as chalk, pricing tight. Cam Akers working in on the island game. He played pretty well. So maybe his snaps increase a tad. There's just more paths to failure for a guy like Jones. And one of those paths is if this Viking stack hits, we're getting a lower owned Justin Jefferson, who we both know has a tremendous ceiling. Sam Darnold's fine. Jordan Addison, I think you could throw in the mix there. TJ
Hawkinson's only 4,700. And I think if you told me Hawkinson was 4,700 a year and a half ago, I mean, he was consistently priced close to 6K in a lot of games. His snap count is probably going to go up, right?
Yeah, he's another week in, so we would imagine that snap count does go up. I'm fine with this Viking stack in A. I think it's a very sharp call.
How about Jaguars playing a Mac Jones type?
Put them in F. An F.
Just automatic. Come on, F, really?
I just don't see. Like, you can play Mac Jones versus Brian Flores. Good luck. You're going D?
I mean, from an ownership standpoint, I mean, $4,400 Mac Jones. I mean, I would be much more likely to play so here's the caveat. Playing the Jacksonville stack with one of Jones or Jefferson. And the fact that Mac Jones is only 4,400, you're able to afford Jefferson much easier and build a decent lineup. So I don't know about playing a Jaguar stack by itself, like playing a Mac Jones, Brian Thomas, Evan Ingram lineup. I mean, I don't know if I could pay 6,600 for Brian Thomas when the Jags only have an 18-point implied team total. But I think I'm perfectly fine playing like Mac Jones plus Ingram at 5,300 and then having like Aaron Jones or Jefferson as like the run back and playing like something like that where you're playing for it's essentially a game where the Vikings do extremely well, but the Jaguars actually keep up with the Vikings enough that Mac Jones ends up with, 19, 20 points at 4,400. And Evan Ingram is the one that scores the 2 touchdowns. And he's like the best scoring tight end on the slate. And then you get the 2 touchdown, 100-yard game from either Jones or Jefferson. And it's just cheaper that way. Like, you just get it cheaper and less owned. So, like, I'm not putting the Jaguars in D by themselves. I just like the game in general. So, like, the difference between the Bears-Patriots, yeah, we're putting the Patriots in the F tier because I don't think the game environment is good even for the underdog team to do well at all. I think this game could be good enough that, the Vikings score too quickly. The Jaguars will be forced to pass more, and then this game could start getting – I mean, I'm fine with the defenses in this game, truthfully, right? The Vikings defense at 3,700 is, people aren't going to pay up that much for it. And I'm even, if this is a competitive game, I'm fine with paying down for the Jaguars defense also against Sam Darnold. I just like the game. So that's why I'm putting the Jaguars in D rather than F. Although by the end, maybe we end up demoting them.
I think you get away with playing like an Evan Ingram or a Brian Thomas. I just don't, as like run backs in your Minnesota stacks, I just don't want to have too much exposure to this Jacksonville offense with Mac Jones under center.
Well, it would be different, Bobby. The point that I'm making is more that if Mac Jones was 5,600, I'd be like, yeah, I'm with you. Put the Jags.
He's 44. I get what you're saying, and
right.
there's star for value.
It's so cheap, right?
Yeah.
Next game, we got the Broncos at the Chiefs. Chiefs are about a touchdown favorite at home, 24.75 implied team total. Broncos, 17.25 implied team total. Chalk in this game. I think there'll be, Kareem Hunt will probably be in the double digits, probably 10 to 12% owned at like 6,600. I think on the Broncos side, maybe some people will, still play a Bo Nix or a Cortland Sutton at 5,600, although probably not like super owned either. But the key here is that, we saw in the last game that, this has turned into Patrick Mahomes to DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce and a bunch of role players otherwise, do you think that will continue? Because we're getting just basically a one-game sample size. And if so, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is 5,300 and Travis Kelce is 6,000. The Chiefs have a 24.75 implied team total. The Broncos defense isn't like awful. But Mahomes is 6,600, and sure, he's not flashed the ceiling in a long time, but he used to be an 8K quarterback in this type of setup, and Kelce used to be an 8K tight end, and DeAndre Hopkins, for most of his career, was an 8K wide receiver. I'm not sure what the ownership is going to be here. I'm assuming this stack will be one of the top 3 or 4 popular stacks just based on, price alone. Do you think that the Chiefs' condensed offense from last week will continue, or do you think that it's going to be one of these games where the Chiefs easily win and no one gets there in DFS?
I'm going to put the Chiefs in the B category. I do think that DeAndre Hopkins continues to see or work into that Rashee Rice role. And for that reason, at 5,300, to me, he's just very underpriced. Kelce worked back in. We're getting later in the year. NFL season's flying by, and now the Chiefs are working back in Kelce. Fine with him, fine with Kareem Hunt. I think a good run back you could go to is Cortland Sutton. I don't mind Sutton at all. 5,600 for Sutton. They're going to be chasing according to the game script, so I'm perfectly fine with the Mahomes stack, throwing them in B. If you want to do Sutton as a run back, I think that's fine as well.
How about playing from the Broncos side, though, playing a Bo Nix lineup? Bo Nix is 6K now. Bo Nix ain't cheap.
I know. That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, I don't really. You can put them in D, I guess, because they're gonna the game script's favorable. He has rushing equity, but you're talking about his price at 6K. Like, I don't know how much Bo Nix I really want to get to. I guess you can throw them in the D category.
Let's go to the next game. We got the Falcons at the Saints. This continues the trend. A lot of road favorites on this slate. We got the Falcons as a little over a 3.5 point favorite on the road, 24.75 implied team total. Saints with a 21.25 implied team total in the Superdome. But Chris Olave should be out, right? I don't know if that was beneficial, but I'm going to assume he's out. The Saints with a new coach because Allen was fired. I think I think the running backs in this game will be very chalky. I think Alvin Kamara at 8,100 will be one of the highest owned running backs on the slate. We saw the last game with Derek Carr back. He touched the ball like it seemed like half the snaps. Because who else are they going to? And then we got a Saints. The Saints can't seem to stop anyone. The Falcons have a good offense. We have Drake London in the projections. So, I don't know how owned he's going to be if he does play. If he doesn't, obviously that bumps up guys like Mooney and McLeod and Bijan also. I think Bijan's range of outcomes is a little wide in this game. He's 7,700 now, so he's not cheap anymore. I think this game environment could be. I think there's a very wide range of outcomes in this game environment. If the Saints could actually move the ball, I think this could be a high-scoring game. But my concern is that if the Saints can't move the ball, this becomes the game at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. That by the witching hour, the game is already almost over because all the clock has been run out because both teams are just running the ball. The Falcons have a 2-touchdown lead, and Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson are just getting every touch. So I'm a little bit concerned about the ownership in this game. And Kamara, although, he'll catch balls out of the backfield, the Saints have a 21-point implied team total as a dog I think I think for like cash game purposes, Kamara, I think it's an 18 to 22 seems pretty good. But I mean, if the Saints don't score touchdowns or Taysom, vultures some, maybe Kamara is a little bit overowned because there's running backs in the slate. I mean, there's plenty of running backs to play on this slate.
I think both Taysom and Kamara are going to be relatively chalky. I would imagine Taysom at 4K and getting running back carries. Kamara, we're showing pretty heavy ownership. Yeah, that's an.
But do you feel like playing a Derek Carr, Kamara, Taysom Hill lineup, or Juwan Johnson or Cedric Wilson? Or
I have zero interest in that.
I mean, like what type of stack are you making with the Saints?
So that's why I'd have them in probably the D category in Atlanta and the C. I just don't know who the pass catchers are that are reliable. And then for the Falcons, like Kirk, you can throw Bijan with Kirk. You can throw McLeod and Mooney if Drake London's out, or just Drake London if he's there. They're fine in the C. I had this conversation. I think it was a pretty big decision point on the slate last week, was what to do with Kamara and Taysom. Me and my buddy were going back and forth. Ultimately, I made the right decision and played them together just because of Taysom's price. I think it was at 3,800. I wouldn't play them, obviously, in a Derek Carr stack, but playing the two of them together on the slate is something you're going to have to figure out come Sunday. Kamara's now up to 8,100. Taysom's price has moved $200 to 4K. Yeah, it's not really we're not talking about a stack. I'm just thinking about how would you be comfortable playing both of these players in the same lineup together in larger field stuff? I don't think I would this week.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
The touchdown's a negative correlation. So
yeah.
So I personally wouldn't. To me, the most interesting player in this game is Drake London. If he does play, Drake London's 6,700, and for most of the year, we've been playing Drake London in the 6K range into 20% ownership. And now that he got a hip pointer and came out of the last game, like if he's healthy for this game, I think people just aren't going to play him, especially Josh Downs is 6,200. DeAndre Hopkins is 5,300. The Jets receivers, when we get to them, are in this range. I think you could possibly get a sub 10% Drake London in this game, and I'm perfectly fine playing. Give me Drake London under 7K at single-digit ownership. When the Falcons have a nearly 25-point implied team total in a dome on the turf. Does that mean I play a Kirk Cousins stack? Not necessarily, but I'm not opposed to. Falcons solidly C tier. Personally, I think I would rather play the Falcons stack than the Colts stack, only because I think Downs' ownership is going to be a little too high. But I'm perfectly fine leaving them in the C tier for now. But I think if not the C, the Falcons are a B tier stack, because you take a look, and outside of Bijan, I don't see much ownership. Who's playing $6,700 Kirk Cousins this week? He's thrown over 300 yards. What, 3 games this season? I mean, like, that's a lot for this season and for quarterbacks. So I don't know. Cousins, London type of lineups.
I like the case you're making with Cousins at the ownership that we're currently getting him. My trepidation with playing Cousins throughout the season has been the fact that I haven't seen a ceiling at that ownership. I think we've seen it maybe once. But now he's not 20% owned, right? So the case you're making for the Falcons is definitely pretty interesting, especially when you have the running backs like Taysom and Kamara on the other side, which we can assume are good plays, I think.
Right, and you can play them that way also. So, like, instead of playing Pitts in your Cousins stack, I don't mind playing Cousins, London, that's it, and then playing Taysom Hill in the tight end spot.
No, I'm fine with that. I think that's a very good way of approaching it. I think the case for Atlanta over the Colts is warranted.
So I'm going to switch.
Yeah, we can switch. Right. I like that.
Right, because the thing about the Colts is that, like, outside of like Downs, I'm not sure how you really stack them. It's like Flacco Downs. Like flat and like, can you throw someone else in? I mean, probably not. You're kind of playing Flacco as the way to get your downs ownership down, right?
And
As
like
historically.
and
The
like we
Falcons,
see
the Falcons automatically come with low ownership. I don't have to worry about that, right?
and like we seen on the Island game, like Flacco's spreading it around to the point where you're getting guys like Doolin, Alec Pierce, Mitchell, Downs, and Pittman are Mo Alley Cox. Exactly. Like there's so many.
Ogletree is getting 3 targets. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
It seems when you look at it, it seems like it would be very condensed, but it didn't seem that way. And maybe it's just small sample size. They were just working in other players, and Adonai Mitchell's going to be a stud eventually. Alec Pierce has come along all season, so these guys are getting better, and I think that could take away from the ceiling of a guy like Downs, especially that ownership. So I like the call of flip-flopping Atlanta and the Colts for sure.
Okay, next game, we got the team with the highest team total on the slate on the road. Another road favorite. We got the 49ers at the Buccaneers. 49ers, yeah, pretty almost touchdown favorite. 28.25 implied team total. The Bucs with the 21.75 implied team total. Christian McCaffrey is on track to being back. He's 8K. I'm not sure how owned he's going to be. I don't think he'll be single-digit owned. I'm not sure if he's just going to walk into 95% snap share. And then you got Purdy, you got Kittle, you got Debo. In the passing game, 28-point implied total. On the other side, you got Otten and, a ragtag group of cheap receivers on the Mayfield side. You also got Juwan Jennings at 5,100 with Ayuk, being out. Obviously, this offense it's good. What do you think this first game with McCaffrey back is going to look like? Because the more and more that McCaffrey is involved with this offense, the more that it takes away from guys like Debo at 6,900 or Kittle at 5,800 to, remove from their ceiling. Or the 49ers are just that good that they'll just put up 7 touchdowns and, 7 touchdowns. And you could just play like all of these guys and they'll all get there.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the ceiling of Debo because you're taking out Ayuk already. And Debo's 6,900, right? So with McCaffrey coming off injury, I'm sure Debo will see some backfield snaps as well. Seems like a very strong play on the slate at 6,900. So I'm fine with Debo. McCaffrey, what are we showing for ownership currently on McCaffrey?
Well, I'm expecting somewhere in the 10 to 15 range. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, this stack for me.
We're showing the 49ers as a pretty chalky team. I mean, we show Debo is close to 20% owned. Purdy, probably somewhere in the 8 to 12% owned at quarterback. Kittle, 10 to 15 at tight end. I mean, this is not super duper chalk or anything, but the 49ers are going to be one of the highest owned teams on the slate in combination. So, yeah, I'm with you that I like the 49ers. It's just that do you want to, with McCaffrey back, I almost feel, as of right now, that maybe I take a shot on McCaffrey rather than the 49ers stack because maybe McCaffrey just does walk into being old school McCaffrey, which would be priced at 9,500 on this slate. And he ends up with 120 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns. And then everyone with the Purdy, Samuel, Kittle type lineups are like, yeah, we got some points, but McCaffrey stole everything. If anyone is underpriced in this on the 49ers, it probably is McCaffrey in that scenario. But you have to play for that scenario. And if you're playing for the scenario that McCaffrey's back, and next thing you know, on the second series, you see Garendo in there and Kyle Juszczyk taking snaps or whatever, and you're like, oh, McCaffrey's back, but he's only gonna, get 35% of snaps. Obviously 8K, it's obviously not going to pay off that price tag. And then you want the Debos. So to me, it's just a matter of where's the field going to go. And I'm not necessarily sure. I don't mind playing a guy like Debo as a one-off because he could get there without anyone else getting there, right? I don't mind playing Kittle as a one-off, even at
What's
tight end.
Purdy's ownership though? Can we? Purdy's
We
not
haven't been 12. We haven't been one of the highest owned quarterbacks at 6,500.
I guess that's a good case. Maybe just play one of Debo, CMC, just get exposure to this San Fran team on every lineup as one-offs. Maybe you can make a
But I'm
rule.
not anti, just to be clear, Bobby, I'm not anti-49ers. I'm just anti putting them in the A tier because I think the ownership makes that I would bump them down to the B tier because I personally think that the Vikings and the 49ers are in similar spots for a ceiling. And I just think the 49ers are going to be more owned than the Vikings.
Yeah, I think the case for the B tier is fine. We can assume like you can play the McCaffrey over the San Fran stack. You can play it that way. My thought process would be is like you're bringing back McCaffrey week 10. Would you rather just ease him in? Like that would be, but at this price tag, maybe you can still get away with it. Like he's not nearly priced where he's at 8K. We're used to seeing McCaffrey at 9.2, 9.3 at this time of the year. So I don't know. I'm fine with the playing just McCaffrey over the Debo stack. I do think that you have to, I know it's tough to assume rational coaching, but I think the rational move would be to ease him back in. That would be my one worry.
Right, because they want him for the playoffs. It's not like
they want him for the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Debo is definitely the best play, even though he's going to be chalky. He's just going to see, you would imagine he sees snaps in the backfield. He's going to, with Ayuk out, he's going to be a vocal point in the passing game. He just seems like the correct play.
Where are we putting the Bucks, though? Where are we putting a Baker Mayfield? Like, what is a Baker Mayfield stack? Is it just Mayfield Otten at 5,500 now? And, like, would you play, like, a chalky Debo? Would you play a Baker Otten Debo lineup? Like, that seems, I think I'm much more likely to do that than just play a standalone Bucks lineup. Like, I don't think the Bucks are like an F tier team, but I'm not sure if I could get them higher than D.
Yeah, we're running back any Buck stacks that we play with a Debo or a McCaffrey. I just think that's how you have to play the Buck stack. I think Sterling Shepard may be chalky. I don't know if I love that chalk. I would rather play Baker, K. Dotton. I'm against at this point not playing K. Dotton because he's just been the bane of my existence. So I will definitely be playing K. Dotton. Sterling Shepard's the one. I know he has a shower narrative with Baker, but I don't know. If Sterling Shepard's going to be egregious chalk, I might be out on that one.
Yeah, if Sterling Shepard beats me with a 25-point game, then so be it. Because how rare does he get that many? So can he do well? Can he get you 12 to 14 points? But okay, great, okay. But
I say that, and he's projecting very well. Like, he's questionable too, though. Just
he's questionable. But all these Bucs receivers are questionable, right? So we'll know later today or tomorrow what's going on there. Next game is the Steelers at the Commanders. The Commanders are a 3-point favorite at home with a 24-point implied team total. Steelers 21-point implied team total. I typically like attacking Commanders games because Commanders do play pretty fast pace. Jaden Daniels out of the 7K quarterbacks may be the lowest owned out of the bunch because attacking the Steelers defense is typically not the thing that you do. But I don't mind playing Jaden Daniels at lower ownership. And Noah Brown, for some reason, at 4,300 is going to be kind of chalky because there's a limited amount of value on this slate. So, like, I don't want to play Noah Brown as a one-off at 4,300 at like 15% ownership. But you tell me to play Daniels, Brown, Ertz, or something like that. Like, okay, that's a way for me to play Noah Brown. The Steelers, I don't know, not sure how much interest I have in Russell Wilson lineups. Although I guess you could play Russell Wilson, George Pickens type of stuff. I think from an ownership perspective, that this game is really not not owned much. I don't think it's the greatest of environments, but the Commanders could speed up games. That they play fast enough pace that maybe it ends up one of those games like the earlier in the season with the Giants, where the Commanders just have the ball for like 46 minutes out of the game, and they just run so many plays that so many of these people end up getting there just on volume. I'm willing to. What's your take? I'm willing to put Commanders just due to ownership in the B tier, but I'm fine. I don't think they rate as well as these 4 teams, so I'm fine with the C tier. Unless you have a different prognosis about this game, either you like it more or you hate it. You hate it more.
I think I like Pittsburgh a little bit more than you. Russell Wilson, George Pickens. I can't see either being very highly owned, and I think they're good tournament plays. You talked about the Washington Commanders playing pace up. I think that benefits an offense that not many people are going to target. People aren't going to go to the George Pickenses. They're not going to go to the Russell Wilsonses. I don't mind getting to these guys. And then maybe differentiating the chalk like Noah Brown or Zach Ertz that way. Yeah, I think I like the Pittsburgh stack more than I like the Washington stack, just because Washington's going against this Pittsburgh defense, which has been very, very strong. They just acquired another defensive end opposite not JJ Watt, the other Watt brother. I think I lean more to the Pittsburgh side here. I would put Pittsburgh. Oh, I have them ahead of Washington. I don't want to put them in B though. Let's put them in B. Put them in B.
But the Steelers are.
You're not going to like doing it, but I think that they're worth the B.
You want to put them in there? Well, we're going to.
I know you're questioning me. I know you're questioning me on this. I think they're worth the B here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put them in C for now.
Put them in C. I know you want to put them in C.
We're even now. We'll put them in high C. Like we ordered them by. Okay, is that better? Like high C, like something like this, like in order in the stacks. So they're at the very top.
I think they're ahead of Washington. Yeah, for sure. I think they're ahead of Washington.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next game that I think we could be pretty quick on. The Titans at the Chargers. Chargers are they're a touchdown favorite at home. 23-point implied team total. The Titans 16-point implied team total. This is a game between two fairly good defenses. The Chargers guys do project decently, but the key point here is from a median standpoint, right? So Ladd McConkey 5,900. I think he's going to be a top 5 owned wide receiver on the slate on both sites. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be pretty owned on FanDuel, maybe not as owned on DraftKings. If you're going to punt at defense, you'll see some Will Disley, right? Herbert's actually very cheap at 5,200 on DraftKings. And then you got guys like Calvin Ridley, 5,700. We don't know. It's possible that Will Levis plays this game rather than Mason Rudolph. I don't think it matters that much, really, personally. So there's not that much ownership in this game outside of maybe Ladd McConkey. At the price, like if I'm going to play Ladd McConkey, I might as well just play a Justin Herbert lineup with him being 5,200. But I'm not enthralled by the price is good for the median. I just think the Titans defense is good enough that the Chargers don't score like 35 points passing this game. And I think the Chargers defense is good enough that I don't think that any of the Titans players really hit a ceiling either. I don't know. I mean, I almost feel like I'd rather play the Steelers than the Chargers at the ownership. Like to play a chalky Ladd McConkey in this spot seems odd for GPPs. Like, yeah, can he get me 18 points in my cash game lineup? It's like, okay, I'm cool with that. But is he going to put up 35 points for me in this environment? I don't think so. Do you have a different take on this game, or you kind of, it's a 39-point implied. It's a 39-point total game. So how about how crazy?
The Chargers in low C because of the median expectation, but I really think that, they're going to come out and try to run the ball this week. I know their passing rate over expectation has been one of the highest in the league. I think top 3 the last 3 weeks. So, but we also seen that this offense ran as like a 1940s offense prior to that. So if they have the ability to run the ball, I'm sure they will. And I think that's how you attack Tennessee. I wouldn't have much interest in the Chargers, but I think low C is fine. And then D for the Titans, low D for the Titans.
Right. Because a guy like Calvin Ridley can, right? He can break one, like this, some stealing. You got Quentin Johnston there. Just that it's a 39-point total game.
I don't know what Quentin Johnson is yet. Like, I just can't figure it out. Was he an awful pick or was he fantastic now? Is he growing into like what he was supposed to be? There's no, like, I don't want to touch that this week. Let's let that play out.
Next game on the slate. We got the Jets as a 2-point road favorite against the Cardinals. Jets with a 24.25 implied team total. The Cardinals with a 22.25 implied team total. The Jets will be one of the chalkiest teams on the slate. Breece Hall, 7,600. Devontae Adams, 7,000. Garrett Wilson, 7,200. Obviously, if you're stacking, you'll be having like Aaron Rodgers there at 5,700. With Alan Lazard on the IR, with Mike Williams getting shipped off, with, they really don't have, essentially, I've just listed the entire Jets offense. So they're very condensed.
Which we like.
But Bobby, they're the New York Jets. Should they be a road favorite going east to west coast against anyone? They're the Jets.
That is the caveat. They're the New York Jets. I think the Jets are an A for me.
Do you want to play 7K left? They're not cheap. These are 7K price players. Do you want to play an Aaron Rodgers and 2 7K players stacked as chalk as the New York Jets? Like just piece that all together where it's not like, oh, people don't want to play the Jets because they're the Jets, but they have a 24-point implied total, and I could get these guys at single-digit ownership. It's like, no. This is the Rodgers stacks may be chalk on this slate.
And I know you're having PTSD as a former Jets fan, but I think this is the week you play them. I just keep having these visions. I was in a bar in South Boston like 5-6 years back, and it was the Packers versus the Cardinals, and Rodgers rolls out, throws a Hail Mary to who was that receiver that no one ever wanted to play, and he caught it. Rodgers has had these games versus Arizona where he's been fantastic. I'm fine with the Jets and A, and Rodgers is going to be low owned relative to all these other QBs that are supposedly in good spots. I want Rodgers Adams stacks. I'm sorry, I do. Throw them in A. They work. This is the week.
You don't mind playing these guys?
I don't think Rodgers is going to come in as high as like 12%. Like he's under 10%.
Yeah, but Devontae, I guess I could see your point. So you'd rather play the Jets than the 49ers?
Yeah, I think I'd rather play the Jets than the 49ers.
Okay. I'm just asking. I'm not saying that in a accusatory way. I'm just okay. That's fine.
It's just because I just think you're getting less. We have Purdy at 12. You're getting Rodgers at under 10. I know it's like probably 8 or 9, but yeah, I just think Rodgers in a good spot, and this is where I don't know. This is kind of like I'm waiting for this Jets team to come alive at some point. I don't know.
You know how I'd rather play this game, Bobby? Me personally, I'm putting the Cardinals in the B tier. I think this game, if the Jets aren't bad, I think this game could shoot out, and I think I'd rather play Kyler Murray plus Trey McBride and Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson, like play it that way.
Because you can play it. You can play it that way too. I'm fine with the Cardinals in the B for sure.
Okay, I just think Kyler Murray at the quarterback position, 600 more than Aaron Rodgers. That if the Jets go off this game, Kyler Murray could have 30 points because he could run. He's running the ball. He's chucking the ball because he's down 10 points. Like, I just see more ceiling from Kyler Murray than Aaron Rodgers. And then from a tight end spot, it's like, really, like, can you play Tyler Conklin? Sure. right? But I think Trey McBride has a much higher ceiling. And I even think that if you want to play a low-owned, I think this is a week where people typically think of the Jets defense as good. I don't think they're very good anymore. Marvin Harrison Jr. 6,400. Maybe he has one of these games where he has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Because it seems like he either has those games or he goes like 3 for 18. So it's like it's one of the two. And at like almost no ownership, I'm willing to take a shot on Marvin Harrison Jr. at 6,400 when Josh Downs at 6,200 is like 10 times more owned.
I'm with you. I think the Cardinals are a very good play, and you can put them in B.
Okay, last game on the slate. We got the Eagles at the Cowboys. Theme here, the Eagles are over a touchdown road favorite heading into Dallas. The Eagles have a 25.5 implied team total. Dallas, 18-point implied team total. Obviously, for the reason that the Cowboys aren't good and Dak Prescott is pretty much out for the year. So we're going to get Cooper Rush at 5,100 against the Eagles defense. I mean, the Cowboys shouldn't be priced this high. Like, CeeDee Lamb shouldn't be an $8,600 wide receiver anymore for the Cowboys with an 18-point implied team total. The thing is that all these Eagles are expensive. I mean, we have A.J. Brown in at 8,200. I'm more inclined to play Eagles players if he was out and playing a $7,800 Devonta Smith. You got Barkley at 8,300, Hurts at 7,800. I think all these guys have a ceiling. I'm just not sure if the stack exists, like of playing like Hurts plus anyone, or like I'm fine with playing any of the Hurts by them. It's almost I'd rather just play because Goddard maybe back. He's 4,500. Maybe you just play Hurts Goddard, or you just play Barkley, or you just play A.J. Brown, or just play like this seems like a one-off team. And then the Cowboys, I don't know about you. I'm just going to officially declare them as an F-tier stack because they're not good. They have 18-point implied team total, and they're way overpriced for, I'm not going to pay 5,100 for Jake Ferguson on this team anymore.
I want to slam Saquon Barkley. I'm not really interested in the Eagles stack. I guess because they are the Eagles, you can throw them in D. Cooper Rush played well the last time he relieved Dak. I know CeeDee Lamb's overpriced. I don't know if I'd throw them in F necessarily. I think you'd throw them in D.
So who would you rather play? Okay, so let's go into this. Because right now we're all even with the curve, right? We put them perfectly. Would you rather play the Cowboys or the Jaguars?
Cowboys.
Okay. Would you rather play Cowboys or the Broncos?
Cowboys.
Okay, so this is that solid. So this would be a deep.
I was even thinking you'd put Cowboys in C.
Really?
I think Cooper Rush is like competent.
Yeah, but the problem with the stack is that CD's 8,600, Ferguson's 5,000, Tolbert's 5,100. They're not. It's an 18-point implied team total. These
and
guys
he's throwing to one person.
What, CeeDee Lamb? It's just Rush Lamb, and that's it.
Rush Lamb.
Okay, so then we got to even it out. Okay, so who moves down to the F tier between the Jags, Broncos, Saints, Bucks, Titans, Cowboys? I'm assuming you just hate Mac Jones, so you want to put the Jags in the F tier.
I don't like Mac Jones.
He's 4,400.
All right, so put the Jags back up and move the Titans down. I'm not. Will Levis is gonna get Will Levis out of there.
Okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm just the price.
I get the price. I get the pricing play with Mac for sure.
Right. And then are we fine with everything else? I mean, the Steelers at the top. If we want to do, okay, let's do the thing since we have it all even of who's at the top. Would you rather play the Vikings or the Jets? I would rather play the ownership adjusted. Remember, we're just adjusting for ownership. I will play the Vikings over the Jets.
You've sold me on the Vikings over the Jets.
Okay, in the B tier, who would you play ownership adjusted compared to all the teams on the B tier?
You want to move San Fran out, huh?
Well, I mean, me personally, ownership adjusted, I'll play the Falcons first, and I'll put the Bills at the end. Like I think I'm more like this: the Falcons, Cardinals, Chiefs, Niners, Bills. But I don't mind changing the Niners and the Chiefs. I don't mind. To me, that's not as substantial. It's more the Falcons are more and the Cardinals are more because
I get that's
they're
fine.
lesser owned.
That's fine. That's fine.
Right. I'll give you the steal. Okay, I'll throw you a bone.
I think the Steelers are a better play than what you realize currently.
Okay. Top of the C tier. I will cede that. Out of all these other teams, I think this is a pretty good order.
Yeah.
I'd rather play the Bears. I almost rather play the Bears over the Colts because Downs is going to be too chalky. Even though I think the game environment sucks.
Yeah.
Is this fine?
That works.
Okay. Then we get I would rather play the Titans than the Patriots.
I would just rather throw both of them off the board.
Right, obviously. But I've been given the choice here, I think I'd rather play the Mayfield stack because the receivers are cheap.
They're chalky, though.
The 49ers environment.
Oh, yeah, the 49ers environment. I like Dallas. I think Dallas is – I would put Dallas ahead of yeah.
Is that good? Bucks, Cowboys, Broncos, Saints, Jags.
That works.
Okay, so there we go. Okay. We come to an agreement. So we got the Vikings and the Jets, top-tier teams, the Titans and the Patriots, bottom-tier teams, everything else in the middle. We have it all even for in memoriam of Squirrel Patrol and his OCD to make sure it's like a bell curve, or at least, some type of, parallel to some, so it's even. Obviously, we got injury reports coming out the next 2 days. Our projections will be updated here at RotoGrinders. You can get that part of the NFL premium package. So you get props, pick them, you get statistical projections, you get Gridiron IQ, you get SimLabs, right? With the simulations. I always take a look at that on Sunday morning for building out your lineups. So you can get all of that as part of a premium subscription. Click on that link in the description. Bobby, what else you got going on this weekend? You got tournament takes, right?
Tournament takes tomorrow.
I better be listening to the lead is, do you play Cooper Rush is good. Play CeeDee Lamb. I want that to be the headline. It's like
that'll be the headline for you, Blender. That'll be the headline for you. Tournament takes, and then we kick off the flagship Sunday morning with the People's Show at 9:30 a.m.
Yeah, I want to hear on the tournament take show that Bobby Gomes. It's like I want to hear. Okay, first off, you're playing Cowboys stacks. You're playing Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens because I'm on the Steelers. And
Pickens is my favorite play of that group for sure.
Okay, so here we go. Right. Who cares about projections? Just slam all the plays and then you just at that point you press the optimize button. At that point, you plug that into SimLabs and whatever SimLabs tells you the rest of the lineup should be. To me, truthfully, that's a good use of SimLabs. Of like, if you're like, I want to play Russell Wilson, George Pickens lineup with a one-off CeeDee Lamb. Like, it's like, dude, like your projections go pretty down, so you got to make sure that the rest of your lineup is commensurate. Like, you just plug that into SimLabs. You go, I want to play these three guys. Show me the best lineups for these contests and whatever, and then you look and you go, okay, this is the way I should be playing these types of lineups. I think that's good for those scenarios. The scenarios where it's like, yeah, I want to play the three chalkies guys. Maybe not in SimLabs. They'll tell you it's like, oh yeah, you can play 74,000 lineups that look good. It's like that. Okay, thanks a lot. That didn't really tell me much. When you want to play like the three crappiest plays on the slate, it'll tell you it's like, yeah, I tried to make 150 lineups for you, but here's like 4 that are good, and the rest have statistics underneath it that have like negative numbers that you could just completely, just ignore completely. Okay. So, Bobby, people can find you on Twitter at Bobby Gomes.
Bobby Gomes DFS. Yep, that's my Twitter.
And I am at BlenderHD. Obviously, there's no Monday show anymore, so I will not be back with James McCool on Mondays, but I will be back Tuesday right? To do it all over again. I guess Tuesday we'll do NBA, but then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for NFL. So tune into all the shows here on the channel. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Because I'm here for you on weekdays, Tuesday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick'em on RotoGrinders Today.